Let me hit you with something most men never hear. Women don't remember the nice guy. They remember the man who made them feel something. And that feeling, it's not always butterflies. Sometimes it's chaos. Sometimes it's confusion. But always, it's impact. You've been told to be safe, be sweet, be stable. And where has that gotten you? Forgotten, ghosted, filed away as a good guy. But meanwhile, the man who broke all the rules, he lives rent-free in her mind. Let me make this uncomfortable truth simple. Women remember the men who challenge them, who spark emotion, who trigger parts of their mind and body they didn't even know were craving stimulation. And no, it's not just about money or looks. It's about presence. It's about being a man who operates differently from the average. Most men never figure this out. They operate in please-her mode, thinking that loyalty and patience are enough. But the truth is, impact outweighs intention every single time. So, in this video, I'm going to break down 5 powerful things a man can do that women never forget. Not just cute gestures or predictable romance, but things that hit her on a psychological, emotional, and even primal level. If you're tired of being the guy women move on from and ready to be the one they remember, obsess over, and never truly get over, listen closely. Because once you understand this, you'll never be average again. 1. He walks away without explaining. Here's something most men will never understand. Silence shakes a woman more than shouting ever could. Women are used to men chasing them, apologizing, explaining, begging to be understood. That's what 99% of men do when tension rises. But the man, she never forgets. He doesn't explain, he doesn't overtalk. He just walks away calmly, without warning, without closure. Why does this hit her so hard? Because it disrupts her control. Most women are used to having the emotional upper hand. They expect a man to seek validation, to clarify his feelings, to make things right. When you remove yourself without a speech or a guilt trip, you instantly create mystery. You interrupt her story. Now, she's the one left wondering. This isn't about playing games, it's about showing emotional discipline. The ability to disengage when your boundaries are crossed without the need to explain your worth. That energy is rare, and because it's rare, it's unforgettable. One example, she pushes your buttons during an argument. Maybe she insults you, or starts playing cold and detached. The average man tries to fix it, talk it out, or worse, plead you. You pause, look her dead in the eye, and say, "I'm not doing this." Then you leave. No yelling, no text later, no explanation. You give her time and space to feel your absence. You don't run back the next day. You don't unblock her after 3 hours. You hold the line. Suddenly the power shifts. Now she's replaying everything, questioning herself, wondering what just happened. And that uncertainty, that's where her obsession starts. She might act tough on the surface, but trust me, she won't forget that moment. Not in a week, not in a year, because deep down she'll remember the one man who didn't give her closure and left her with questions she couldn't answer. 2. He makes her jealous without trying. Jealousy is one of the most powerful emotional hooks in a woman's mind, and the man who can trigger it naturally holds a permanent spot in her memory. Here's the catch. If you try to make her jealous, it looks insecure, forced, obvious. And once it's obvious, it's weak. But the man she can't forget is the one who creates jealousy without effort, just by living a life that doesn't revolve around her. This man is in demand. Other women notice him, laugh at his jokes, touch his arm, watch his stories, and he never brags about it. He doesn't rub it in her face. He simply allows her to see it. That subtle exposure is all it takes. Why does this work? Because women are territorial with men they emotionally invest in. When they realize they're not the only ones watching, the chase begins. And the worst part for her, you're not doing anything wrong. You're just being attractive to the world, not just to her. That's what burns. 2. Example. You're at a gathering. You're talking confidently, not glued to her side, and other women are laughing, engaging with you, touching your shoulder casually. She watches, and her entire mood shifts. Later, she makes a sarcastic comment like, "You were really enjoying the attention, huh?" But you don't flinch. You smile and say, "I didn't notice. I was just having a good time." Then you change the subject. Now she's locked in because she did notice. And the fact that you didn't react, didn't try to explain or apologize, makes it worse for her. That moment sticks. Not because you disrespected her, but because you reminded her that your world doesn't orbit around her. Other women see value in you, and that passive threat triggers something primal in her. The fear of losing something valuable. That kind of jealousy, it doesn't fade, it lingers. 3. He triggers her emotional chaos. Every woman has emotional chaos inside her, even the most composed ones. And the man she never forgets is the one who activates it. Not out of cruelty, not because he's toxic, but because he taps into something real, something raw. Most guys play it safe. They try to be her peace, her emotional blanket, her yes man. But guess what? Safe is boring, predictable, forgettable. It doesn't leave a mark. But a man who can make her feel deeply, who stirs up confusion, passion, frustration, curiosity, that man becomes unforgettable. Why? Because emotional chaos are emotional investment. An emotional investment is the seed of obsession. She may roll her eyes at you 1 minute, then stare at your texts for hours the next. She might talk rash about you to her friends, but still stalk your profile like it's her full-time job. That's the chaos. That's what keeps her engaged. You know you're in her head when she says things like, "I don't even know what we are. You're so hard to read. Why do I keep thinking about you?" These aren't complaints. These are signs you've cracked through the surface. You've interrupted her emotional autopilot. See, emotional chaos isn't always bad. In fact, women are wired to feel things on a deeper level. And when you spark that wild mix of tension, excitement, doubt, and desire, you become an experience, not just a man. Think about it. Has a woman ever told you, "I don't know why, but there's just something about you"? That's the chaos talking. That's her emotional storm, and you're the eye of it. Men who trigger this aren't trying to. They're just unapologetically themselves, grounded, unpredictable, and not afraid of her reactions. And that drives her mad in the best way. She might fight it. She might deny it. But long after you're gone, she'll still be feeling you. And feelings, they last longer than facts. 4. He sets rules. She must follow. Here's the truth. The men women never forget are the ones who set the standard and never lower it. In today's world, too many men are walking on eggshells, afraid to offend, afraid to lose her, afraid to be alone. They tolerate disrespect, overlook red flags, and stay quiet just to keep the peace. And then they wonder why she loses respect, why she pulls away, why she forgets them, like last week's Instagram story. But a man who sets rules, boundaries, standards, that man becomes a force. He's not just another option. He's the only one who dares to draw the line and stick to it. And here's the twist. Women don't hate rules. They crave them. Not because they want to be controlled, but because it signals that this man values himself, that he knows who he is, and that he won't tolerate chaos just to keep her around. You tell her what you expect: honesty, respect, effort. You don't raise your voice. You don't demand. You inform. And if she crosses those lines, you don't beg for change. You walk away. That calm strength, that quiet authority, that's unforgettable. Now listen, if you're a good man, don't let the world make you feel small for it. Don't let bitterness, rejection, or society convince you to shrink. Good men are rare, strong, emotionally grounded, self-respecting. Men are even rarer. And the truth is, women know it. That's why when they come across one, they remember him. Especially if he's the kind of man who doesn't chase, doesn't bend, and doesn't play by their emotional games. You want to be unforgettable. Stop trying to be liked. Start being respected. Set the rules. Stick to them. And let her rise up to your standard, because real women don't forget the man who knew his worth and made her prove she deserved it. 5. He shows love, then disappears. Nothing burns into a woman's memory more than a man who showed her something real and then vanished. We're not talking about manipulation here. This isn't ghosting after a one-night stand or breadcrumbing to play games. No, this is about impact. Emotional, intimate, genuine impact. The kind of connection that feels rare, even sacred, and then gone. It's the disappearance after depth that haunts her. Most men never get this far. They either hold back emotionally out of fear, or they give too much and overstay their welcome. But the man who lets her taste his world, his mind, his presence, his intensity, then pulls away with purpose, that man becomes unforgettable. Why? Because she saw a side of you most men are too afraid to show. That raw, present, masculine vulnerability. You weren't needy. You weren't trying to prove anything. You were just there fully. And that energy is powerful. It calms her, excites her, disarms her, and then you're gone. You didn't beg for a label. You didn't chase after distance. You just left her with the memory of what it felt like to be around a man who truly saw her, then moved on without drama. That kind of exit leaves a permanent scar. Not because you hurt her, but because you awakened something in her that no one else had, and then made her realize she may never feel it again. And here's the catch. She may never admit it. She might act unbothered. She might pretend you were just another guy. But inside, she'll replay moments. She'll wonder why it ended. She'll compare every man after you to that one chapter she can't get back. So remember this, it's not always the man who stays the longest that gets remembered. Sometimes it's the man who showed her the deepest emotion, then disappeared without a trace. Conclusion. Here's the hard truth. Nobody wants to say out loud. A woman is more likely to remember the man who confused her than the one who loved her perfectly. Read that again. Men are out here killing themselves trying to love her right, to be her rock, to be the stable, supportive, predictable guy. But that's not what burns into her memory. What she remembers is the man who made her feel everything. The tension, the fire, the mystery, the silence, the power, imbalance, the highs and the lows. It's controversial, I know, but this is the game most men don't realize they're playing. Love is nice, but emotional impact is unforgettable. So ask yourself, are you making an impression or just being convenient? Let's make this real. I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever been the man she couldn't forget, or the one she moved on from without a second thought? Be honest. This space is for real men only. No sugarcoating, no fake personas. And yes, I will be reading your responses. I'll be replying, connecting, and maybe even using your stories with your permission in future content. So, speak up, because your experience says matter, and someone out there needs to hear them. And remember, if you want to be unforgettable, stop playing by the rules that make you invisible.